What is Spark?
So SPARK stands for an acronym which covers S for service, P for purpose, F for attraction, R for resilience, and K for knowing. And this acronym was a result of my personal experience in life. I had a call at 10 o'clock in the morning on October 10th, 1997, approximately 25 years ago. And the call came from a nonprofit organization chairperson while I was interviewing a client as an accountant who had just won $15 million. Little did I realize that that call was just coming to me was a lottery for me as well, but I only found out in hindsight. So I took up the call, and the call went, "We want you to go to Karachi, Pakistan as an accountant to do budgeting for the refugees." So with my wife's blessing, I said yes, and I went there for 6 weeks. Many things happened while I was there, but one thing, when I went to see some refugees in a camp, in a tent, I was so shaken that my ride from the camp to the hotel, I was shivering and I was sweating and I was sobbing like a baby. I had a sleepless night, and in the sleepless night, I tossed and turned and asked myself, how do I help people like that? I was an accountant. I made reasonably good money. I could send them some money. It would be like a drop in the ocean. So I thought, what can I do to make a big impact? And I realized that I had a gift to inspire. So I was so shaken that I made a choice of jumping off the cliff backwards to change my career from accounting for business to accounting for life, and decided to be a coach, a writer for giving, and speak about giving to help people like that. And at that time, I set a huge goal, which I was 100,000 times more than my accounting goals, because I realized that because I wanted to help others, I had a goal larger than self, my goals multiplied. And then when I started this journey, I struggled. First year, I spoke 185 times. I made zero money. The second year, I spoke 187 times. I made zero money. And I spoke in Dallas, and I spoke in Paris, and I spoke in Sydney. I was making no money. I wrote my first book, spent 10,000 hours. I couldn't put a book in the bookstore. And when I was just giving up, when I went to the Chapters bookstore in Richmond, when I couldn't find my book in the bookstore, when I went to the computer, I was kind of feeling depressed. And as I was walking away from the computer, there was one small book staring at me, and I was ignoring the book. And when I came to the door of the bookstore, I had three choices. I go to the car, I go to the bathroom, I go to the book. In that moment of integrity, I decided to go to the book, but I said, I'm not going to read the whole book. I'll just read the introduction. When I read the introduction, it was a story of a guy who was going to commit suicide, had gone to Second World War, came back and was selling life insurance, but couldn't make any money. His wife divorces him, his kid leaves him, and he didn't end up committing suicide, and then ended up being an author. And he wrote 50 million, he sold 50 million copies. His name is Olga Mandino, and when I saw that book when I was giving up, it was a sign from the universe that if he can do it, I can do it. So I continued, and eventually I became successful. After my fifth book, The Power of Giving, with Harry Potter for a few hours, and Penguin picked it up and became #1 on Amazon, and Barnes & Noble went to 10 languages. That's when things started to change. But eventually I had a knowing that I'm on the right track, and what matters is every single day. So if you look at my journey, it started with me putting a hand up to go and serve. So that's service. As I went to serve and I was exposed to poverty, abject poverty, I stumbled into my calling, my purpose, to be a speaker, to be a coach, to be an author, which I never knew I had that. I mean, I had the gift, but I never knew I could do this full time. So I found my purpose. Then I set a huge goal, which was my affirmation attraction. And then because I set a huge goal, I aspired, the universe conspired to help me. And then, of course, I went through so many struggles on the way, but I realized the struggle is a blessing because it makes you better in your craft. In the end, I got to have knowing. So my SPARK acronym comes from my journey.